Hello, friends. How are you all? It's nice to be back again on the channel as today we are going to have a new lesson, that is, take heart from the experience of others. Friends, as we are studying, learning, and also understanding the various points, these are the speech of motivation. Basically, I want you all to be motivated and not be discouraged as you learn English. And believe me, you will learn English and would be able to speak very well. Yes, take heart from the experience of others. There is no such animal in our or out of captivity as a born public speaker. Yes, we are here today as we all aspire to be a public speaker, isn't it? In those periods of history when public speaking was a refined art that demanded close attention to the laws of rhetoric and the niceties of delivery, it was even more difficult to be born a public speaker. Now, we think of public speaking as a kind of enlarged conversation, isn't it? Gone forever is the old grand eloquent, yes, the grand eloquent style and the stentorian voice. What we like to hear at our dinner meetings, in our church services, or on our tea sets and radios. On our TV sets and radios is straightforward speech conceived in common sense and dedicated to the proposition that we like speakers to talk with and not at us. Despite what many school texts would lead us to be believing, public speaking is not a closed art, understand it, to be mastered only after years of perfecting the voice and struggling with the mysteries of rhetoric. I have spent almost all of my teaching career providing to people that it is easy to speak in public provided they follow a few simple but important rules. When I started to teach at the 125th Street YMCA in New York City back in 1912, I didn't know this any more than my first students knew it. I taught, yes, those first classes pretty much the way I had been taught in my college years in Warrensburg, Missouri. But I soon discovered that I was on the wrong track. I was trying to teach adults in the business world as though they were college freshmen. I saw the futility of using Webster, Burke, Pitt, and O'Connell as examples to imitate. What the members of my classes wanted was enough courage to stand on their hind legs and make coherent report at their next business meeting. It wasn't long before I threw the textbooks out of the window, got right up there on the podium, and with a few simple ideas, worked with those fellows until they could give their reports in a convincing manner. It worked because they kept coming back for more. I wish I could give you a chance to browse through the files of testimonial letters in my house or in the offices of my representatives in various parts of the world. They come from industrial leaders whose names are frequently mentioned in the business section of the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, from governors of states and members of parliaments, from college presidents, and from celebrities in the world of entertainment. There are thousands more, from housewives, ministers, teachers, young men, and women whose names are not well known yet, even in their own communities. Executives and executive trainees, laborers, skilled and unskilled, union men, college students, and business women. All of these people felt a need for self confidence and the ability to express themselves acceptably in public. They were so grateful for having achieved both that they took the time to write me letters of appreciation. Isn't that wonderful? Of course, yes. Of the thousands of people I have taught, one example comes to mind as I write because of the dramatic impact it had on me at the time. Some years ago, shortly after he joined my course, D.W. Ken, a successful businessman in Philadelphia, invited me to lunch. He leaned across the table and said, I have sidestepped every opportunity to speak to various gatherings, Mr. Carnegie, and there have been many, but now I am chairman of a board of college trustees. I must preside at their meetings. Do you think it will be possible for me to learn to speak at this late date in life? Yes, this is a question of many of us have, isn't it? We think we are old enough and unable to go back to school days and study and learn. But remember, friends, that age and learning, yes, learning has no connection with age. You can always learn, have the positive attitude in your mind, and you can get through in life. Remember, where there is a will, there is a way, right? I assured him on the basis of my experience with men in similar positions who had been members of my classes that there was no doubt in my mind that he would succeed. About 3 years later, we lunched together again at Manufacturers Club. We ate in the same dining room and at the very same table we had occupied at our first meeting. Reminding him of our former conversation, I asked him whether my prediction had come true. He smiled, took a little red backed notebook out of his pocket, and showed me a list of speaking engagements for the next several months. The ability to make these talks, he confessed, the pleasure I get in giving them, the additional service I can render in the community. These are among the most gratifying things in my life. But that was not all. With a feeling of justifiable pride, Mr. Ken then played his ace card. His church group had invited the Prime Minister of England to address a convocation in Philadelphia, and the Philadelphian selected to make the introduction of the distinguished statesman on one of his rare trips to America was none other than Mr. D.W. Kent. This was the man who had leaned across that same table, remember, less than 3 years before, and asked me whether I thought he would ever be able to talk in public. Yes, many times we are also in the same kind of situation, whether we will be able to do it or not, whether we can speak a speech or not. We can. Yes, only be motivated. Here is another example. The late David M. Goodrich, chairman of the board of B.F. Goodrich Company, came to my office one day. All my life, he began, I have never been able to make a talk without being frozen with fear. Yes, it happens that we are so much tensed that we fear. There's nothing to fear, but we have a feeling. How can I speak? Yes, doesn't matter. Just be encouraged. As board chairman, I have to preside at our meetings. I have known all the board members intimately for years, and I have no trouble talking to them when we are sitting around the table. But, the moment I stand up to talk, I am terrified. Yes, that's the thing, friends. It happens with us also, isn't it? Don't worry, I can hardly say a word. I have been that way for years. I don't believe you can do anything for me. My trouble is too serious. It has existed too long. Well, I said, if you don't think I can do anything for you, why did you come to see me? For one reason only, he replied. I have an accountant who takes care of my personal accounting problems. He is a shy chap, and to get into his little office, he has to walk through my office. He has been sneaking through my office for years, looking at the floor and hardly ever saying a word. But lately, he has been transformed. He walks into my office now with his chin up, a light in his eye, and he says, "Good morning, Mr. Goodrich," with confidence and spirit. I was astonished at the change, so I said to him, "Who has been feeding you meat?" He told me about talking and taking your course of training, and it is only because of the transformation that I have witnessed in that frightened little man that I have come to see you. It happens with us also, isn't it? So let us be encouraged once again, friends. Further, as we go, I told Mr. Goodrich that if he attended the classes regularly and did what we asked him to do, within a few weeks he would enjoy speaking before audiences. So the point is, be regular. If you can do that, he replied, I'll be one of the happiest men in the country. And he joined the course, made phenomenal progress, and 3 months later, I invited him to attend a meeting of 3,000 people in the ballroom of the Hotel Astor and talked to them on what he had gotten out of our training. He was sorry, couldn't come. A previous engagement. The next day, he phoned me. I want to apologize, he said. I have broken that engagement. I will come and speak for you. I owe it to you. I'll tell the audience what this training did for me. I'll do it, and with the hope that my story will inspire some of the listeners and to get rid of the fears that are devastating their lives. Yes, here is a point that when we learn, we have to also teach others. That is what I felt in my heart, friends, that I should also speak for the people who need to learn public speaking and general speaking in English. Yes, you can be victorious. Just be taking one day at a time. Just be confident. And yes, we are climbing the steps to the highest peak of victory, and we will be victorious. Okay? I asked him to speak for 2 minutes only. He spoke to 3,000 people for 11 minutes. Isn't it great? Yes, I have seen thousands of similar miracles worked in my courses. I have seen men and women whose lives were transformed by this training, many of them receiving promotion and promotions far beyond their dreams or achieving positions of prominence in their business, profession, and community. Sometimes this has been done by means of a single talk delivered at the right moment. Let me tell you the story of Mario Lazo. Years ago, I received a cable from Cuba that astonished me. It read, Unless you cable me to the contrary, I'm coming to New York to take training to make a speech. I was signed. It was signed Mario Lazo. Who was he? It was a surprise. I wondered. I had never heard of him before. When Mr. Lazo arrived in New York, he said the Havana Country Club is going to celebrate the 50th birthday birthday of the founder of the club, and I have been invited to present him with a silver cup and to make the principal talk of the evening. Although I am an attorney, I have never made a public talk in my life. I am terrified at the thought of speaking. If I fail, it will be deeply embarrassing, isn't it? To my wife and myself socially. And in addition, it might lower my prestige with my clients. That is why I have come all the way from Cuba for your help. I can stay only 3 weeks. During those 3 weeks, I had Mario Lazo going from one class to another, speaking 3 or 4 times a night. 3 weeks later, he addressed the distinguished gathering at the Havana Country Club. His address was so outstanding that Time magazine reported it under the head of foreign news and described Mario Lazo as a silver tongued orator. Isn't that wonderful? Sounds like a miracle, doesn't it? It is a miracle, a 20th century miracle of conquering fear. Yes, we can conquer fear and every kind of situation. The important points are we have to be confident and remove that kind of thinking that we will fail somewhere. We will be victorious as we practice. So, the point is again practice, practice, practice. My dear friends, do practice whenever you get time in the 24 hours you are at home or wherever you are. Make it a point to read and speak loudly and read. Don't read just keeping mum. Yes, you have to practice in front of mirror and think that the audiences are sitting in front of you. And whatever you can speak, just start speaking. Maybe you may speak to your friend and he or she may laugh. Does not matter. Just keep on practicing every day and you will be a perfect speaker one day. Yes, that day is not too late or not too far. Okay? It's great joy when I meet all of you by this channel and reach you out there and can speak and also read this beautiful, encouraging words and also be encouraged myself when you all join me. Thank you, friends, and we meet tomorrow again. Thank you for this beautiful day, and also let us meet tomorrow again. Have a good day. Be victorious. Don't quit, for victory is there ahead. Thank you. Bye-bye.